evening.
Sit back on your haunches.
We're not going to make breakfast.
Slowly.
We got to drink
Tip your
that.
head back and drink it. Even in your case, it's a carbonated beverage, right? Think when you're a kid, carbonated beverage up the nose stings and hurts like heck. You laugh while you're doing it, it still comes out your nose and it still stings. So it's not a race. There's no points for being first. There's no style points. Okay? All you have to do is drink that little bit that's in the bottle. That's all you have to do. And while you're doing that, Tim and I will recite the aeronaut's prayer, which we say for all successful first-time aeronauts, a category in which you all now thankfully qualify. So, November 21st, 1783, sees the culmination of efforts by two brothers named Montgolfier. And they noticed that if you take a piece of paper, put it in the fireplace or the campfire of the time, and when it burned, the charred ash rose on the smoke. They thought, if I can capture a bunch of this smoke, maybe I can make something fly.
If I might add something, there was another one when we were talking to Estelle, who was, carries the last name on Montgolfier. One of the stories she had was that somebody was drying a shirt, a cotton shirt, and buttoned it up and held it over the fire, and they said, wait a minute, I can feel it. It's trying to lift.
Yeah. You bet.
And all of these little experiments, but the big thing is they said, what's going on here? That might be useful.
So the brothers went to, as the story goes, the brothers went to Dad and said, hey, can we get some, like, just some paper and some silk string, and we're going to make this thing that captures all this stuff. And Dad said, no, not really. You should have better things to do with your life. So they had to go con one of their other friends' dads and give them the paper. They did get the string from Dad eventually. And they made what in third grade, fourth grade these days we think of as tissue paper balloons, right? And they said, hold it up and over and flew, and cool. So, now, history lesson. Think, 1783, France, what's the tallest thing around?
Eiffel Tower.
Hasn't been built yet. Palace of Versailles is the tallest thing around. The only thing that's ever flown above that is a bird. There's never been anything else that's gone higher than that, couple of 100 feet. So we don't know if you're actually going to live once you get above that elevation. So,
nobody's tried it.
Yeah, so off we go to the barnyard. Chicken, duck, sheep. Right? Larger wicker basket, more paper, more string, larger balloon, still thinking that it's smoke, haven't quite figured out that it's heat yet. And the first three aeronauts take off, fly just a little over half a mile, come down, everybody hustles over there, and two of the three first aeronauts are still alive on landing. However, the chicken did not make it. However, when they talked to the people who were there, when they landed, they said, oh, no, they were all alive, but squawking and squealing and carrying on. But when they landed, the basket tipped over and sheep stepped on the chicken's neck, and that's why the chicken was dead. But they were all alive. It was okay. They had flown over 700 feet, far above the height of the palace, and we're all still fine and dandy. So I said, good, this works. Now we need to see if a human can do it. So we'll go get us a condemned criminal. Oh, anyway, it doesn't really matter. All right? And we'll build a bigger balloon, and we'll see if he lives. At this point, the Count named Pilatro de Rosier goes to Louis XVI and says, whoa, wait, you can't do that. What if this works? He'll become the most famous man in history, first man to ever fly. We were going to kill him for what he did. You can't do that. Look, I'll go. If it doesn't work, okay, so be it, for the greater glory of France. And another nobleman that day, the Marquis d'Arlon, actually accompanied Rosier. They ascended from a little town outside of Paris called Annonay. It's well publicized, handbills, word of mouth, drunk words. And they had a crowd of about 25,000 people there. Now, once again, history lesson. Why do you get 25,000 people together in Western Europe in 1783? Have a war. Largest peacetime gathering up to that point in history in Western Europe. They took off. They flew a little over a mile and a half. Had a successful flight. This becomes the rage of Paris. Well, it's mostly the aristocrats because they've got nothing better to do with their money than throw it away.
It's also tied into fashion.
Yeah.
And as we've seen the displays in Paris, they have plates, they have chairs. One chair Sherry would love to have. The whole back is like the shape of a balloon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the ladies' dresses and the whole bit.
They were all puffy.
Oh, yeah. So, but there's a couple of fundamental problems here. We still think it's smoke, not the actual heat that's keeping them aloft, right? So if you've seen the early pictures of a Montgolfier, the early hot air smoke balloon, the basket is actually round, okay? And it's actually not got anything quite in the middle. And so they reckon, well, hey, we need to make more smoke so we can stay up and fly longer, just like we would like to have more propane on board. So how do you make a smoky fire? What do you burn to make a smoky fire? Wet stuff, yes.
Wet
What
straw.
else? What else? That works. Available in the day there in a farming community, you have hides, dung, wet straw or grass, right? Basically something that smells really horrible when you burn it, right? And we all know that smoke follows you when you're around a fire, right? We all know it follows you. So they carry a small, what we now think of as the little braziers that you see in people's backyards and that. Of course, in that day, that's when braziers start, so it's not an ornament, it's actually a necessity in life in those days. They carry one in the center and enough fuel to keep making smoke. All right? So now, picture yourself out in the countryside in France, peasants out there, bringing in the seeds and the crops like we are today. This thing comes out of the sky, right? Doesn't have a burner, doesn't have a vent valve like us, right? When it's done, it's done. It comes down. Boom. All right? Brazier on board does what? Sets the crops on fire, scares the animals, basically causes havoc throughout the countryside in that little area where they land. And so the peasants do the only thing they know how to do, which is they figure it's a demon. They call the local curé, priest, they exorcise it as such, and then they kill it. Pitchforks, knives, sickles, anything that's handy will do nicely. Shred the balloon and unfortunately occasionally kill the pilot. Now the other thing that's going amok in America at this time, and in France, is that when you get to where you're going, the four-wheel drive chase horse and buggy with GPS app on the iPad has not been invented yet, okay, in 1783. So you get where you're going, you're stuck. Your choice is walk, stay put, find a farmer and try and talk him out of a ride, a horse, something, right? So they start taking something to eat and drink with them, right? Because you're going to be there a while, and we all know that a long walk is much better done when you're not quite fully sober. So one of them gets a brilliant idea one day. He says, you know, if I can show these peasants that we're people just like them, we're not demons, maybe they won't kill me, right? Then, now, hopefully always in the future, we offer them food and drinks, the International Sign of Peace and Amnesty. So one of them gets a brilliant idea, grabs a bottle, ties a rope around it, dangles it over the side of the basket as they're coming in, and hopes to heck that at least they'll wait long enough to take the liquor before they start shredding and give him time to talk, which in fact works. And they live to fly another day, and a few more after that. And you catch up to the point now where it's slightly after World War II, when hot air ballooning, as you see it here today, and they figured out that it's the heat changing the density in the air, comes to life courtesy of World War II naval technology. As you've seen, yes, Tim and I can make the balloon go up and down, and we can steer it, and we can do this and that, but neither one of us just by ourselves put the whole thing together, hacked it all up by ourselves. If it wasn't for all these people here who do all the hard work, there would be no balloon flying. And we all know that if you don't keep the correct alcohol and cider to crew ratio, this whole thing just goes down to the toilet, right? So, on that point, you're up to pretty much today. So, again, have a kneel. Timothy and I will get down here, as old and decrepit as we are too. Now, I would, for the people who are fairly strong, or tall, I would suggest being back at the edge of the carpet. All right? And again, don't be a hero or heroine. Just bend over, pick it up with your feet, sit back like this, then slowly tip it back and drink it. Okay? So go ahead and pick up your glasses, ladies and gentlemen. Pick them up. There you go. Sit back, and the prayer goes like this. The winds have welcomed you with softness. The sun has blessed you with warm hands. You have flown so high and so low. God has joined you in laughter and set you gently again in the loving arms of Mother Earth. Welcome to the world of ballooning. You might get wet. Always forget that part. You might get wet. And for the ladies in the group, P.S. In some cases, we just put the best hairspray in the world in your hair. For those of you who just got a little bit of water, you're safe. For those of you who got champagne, in about 20 minutes, your hair will not move in a 60-mile-an-hour wind. It might smell a little funny, but it's the cheapest and best hairspray in the world.
Get a little bit rambunctious.
Well, one of the things for our passengers, do not require sitting down, do not require getting wet, do not require you to drink out of paper cup. Now we'll take that and get you some